Arsene Wenger is still there. He keeps going, doesn't he? Despite the odd dissenting voice. He's about to embark on his 22nd season as the Arsenal manager. And he's also signed up for a 23rd. The kings of the Premier League against the rulers of the FA Cup. It's our very own Game of Thrones, and Chelsea immediately onto the front foot. And a chance for Pedro to try and create something, and Arsenal just about deal with it. And Chelsea showing their intent right from the very off. It doesn't matter where these two meet, does it, Matthew Upson? They always want to beat one another.
It could be anywhere in the world, in any competition. You know, this game's always going to have an edge. There's always going to be a bit of spice to it, and you know, I fully expect that today.
Chelsea have won the first corner of the game, taken by Fabregas, headed away by Granit Xhaka. And Alonso is in behind here too, and it's a deflection which takes it behind for a corner, the second of the game.
Really sleepy start by Arsenal in the right-back position there. Maitland-Niles, I think it might be, or playing wing-back or right-back, just seems to have gone to sleep, and Arsenal need to brighten up and deal with the situation.
Chelsea haven't had as much pre-season action as Arsenal. Willian takes the corner. Well, they've gone out and come back in again. Our officials are all from China. David Ospina is the goalkeeper for Arsenal. Willian, who scored a hat-trick against Fulham in a friendly at Cobham last weekend. He started to develop a bit of an understanding with Michy Batshuayi.
Looks like Arsenal have slotted into a back three with Mertesacker in the middle and the two centre-backs wide.
It's something that they've been comfortable with towards the end of last season. It's the kind of system you've got to play if you've got Mertesacker in the middle.
Definitely, and especially given the result of the FA Cup final, it just seems to make sense to match up the same and see how they go.
It's David Luiz squeezing the ball back to his goalkeeper. There are going to be more places under scrutiny in the Chelsea lineup this season, with a couple of new signings, including Rudiger and Bakayoko. Not here yet. Here's Victor Moses, and he's in behind too. His shot saved by Ospina. It was a pretty tame effort in the end from Victor Moses. Chelsea have already given Arsenal a few warnings.
Well, there's been 3 warnings in the first 2.5 minutes nearly, which is a surprise. But the two young players playing left back or left wing back and right wing back for Arsenal really have to kind of have a look around. It's a big occasion for them, but they've got to settle down and start to get into the game and see where people are.
Looks like Oxlade-Chamberlain is playing as the right wing back. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who is usually a right back or a winger, is playing as part of the back three. Mertesacker and Monreal. This is Cohen Bramall. Ramsey immediately under pressure from David Luiz. Free kick is given, and Arsenal want to get the ball moving quickly. Oxlade-Chamberlain wearing red this afternoon. Wearing a different colour come the start of the season. Here's Ramsey. There's a man over on this left-hand side. Chelsea very narrow and bunched on the edge of the penalty area. Özil. Maitland-Niles, and then Monreal trying to scoop it forward. It's a good open start to the game, and this is the first of 2 meetings between Chelsea and Arsenal. The next is the Community Shield in 15 days' time. And then we'll be complaining if they're fast and furious like this. By Bramall to try and take it away from Victor Moses. Free kick is given. Xhaka. This is Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who says he prefers being a winger. Gave away a penalty against Bayern Munich, and he was judged to have brought down Juan Bernat. And he thought that was a little bit harsh, actually. Came on in the final of the recent under-20s World Cup, which England won. Here's Pedro, trying to skate away from Maitland-Niles. He does very well to stick with him. Two of the most rapid players on the pitch. Here's another one, Iwobi finding Bramall. Getting forward quickly, just a heavy touch there, might have taken it too far.
I felt sorry for him there because the pitch, I don't know if you noticed, but the pitch really bumped the ball up and just encouraged that heavy touch from Bramall. Just as he was about to contact, it just popped up in the air, which I think affected his touch.
You've played more than a handful of games in the Far East, and you were telling me beforehand that sometimes the pitches just don't lend themselves to the kind of football that Premier League teams like to play.
No, it's very, very different surface, very different type of grass, a bit spongy and unpredictable.
Moses. Checked by Ramsey, illegally. Well, Arsenal may have beaten Bayern Munich last week, but they were outplayed for much of that game. They owed a lot to Petr Cech and ultimately Emi Martinez. Chelsea won 8-2 in the friendly match behind closed doors at Cobham. They were supposed to play another domestic match. That didn't materialise before coming out to Asia. Given away cheaply by Maitland-Niles, and Willian is away here. He's got support, but he might not need it. Well, it was close, and Arsenal have got away with one. 12 goals last season, you would have expected him to put that away.
Yeah, Maitland-Niles here, just a sloppy touch. He's not concentrating enough. He's not decisive enough with the ball. He recovers well, I have to say. He gets him just enough pressure on Willian there, just to put him under enough pressure to force him to squeeze it well. But really a chance missed by Willian.
This player had a difficult 2016-17 because of personal issues. He lost his mother, and it affected him terribly, the stress of the situation. He ended up losing a lot of weight and wasn't as effective as he would have hoped. Good turn by Oxlade-Chamberlain. Bramall onto Iwobi. This is Özil. Now Bramall again. Iwobi trying to send that into Lacazette. Very popular figure, Alexandre Lacazette, especially with one punter who's had his face tattooed on his backside. It's a true story.
Not talking about yourself there.
He's an Arsenal fan. Lacazette's got in touch with him and promised to send him a shirt as a result of his dedication and loyalty. £46 to £53 million, depending on which source you look at, but it's clear that he's Arsenal's record signing. Özil trying to find Lacazette, got by David Luiz, and it's out for Arsenal's first corner of the game.
A little bit disjointed along the back line there, Chelsea. If you just see Luiz is quite a few yards deeper than Cahill and plays him onside, manages to recover back in, but yes, it's that early part of the pre-season game, just getting the organisation right and getting that back line straight.
Chelsea got enough numbers back here. That's all with the corner, headed away by Batshuayi. Fabregas to Batshuayi, and now Chelsea looking to go on the counter-attack. Still getting people back nice and sharp. This is Moses. Decent looking cross. Batshuayi seemed to be caught in two minds. I don't think he realised that it was going to swing back out again. They've kept it in here, Chelsea. Alonso, stretch for Fabregas. Willian takes over. And Arsenal get it clear.
Fantastic cross there, put in by Moses. Just teased it right in between the centre-back and the goalkeeper, exactly where you'd want it to be.
And a really good season last campaign, didn't he? And it came about by impressing in pre-season last year. So another cross, which is blocked by Monreal. The juggling was by Ramsey. Cross from Monreal. The crowd are being entertained by some of the tricks that these Premier League superstars are trying to display. Lacazette has found Alex Iwobi. Lacazette again. Taylor's there, as he has been ever since he arrived in English football, on the scene of an emergency very quickly.
It's like a sixth sense that he has, Kante. So it's an outstanding feature of his play. I mean, he just gets back into areas where he can affect the play, uses his body, makes contact with the ball, and just forces people out of possession.
Chelsea maybe should be grateful to Arsenal for dramatically altering their season last year. The 3-0 thrashing, and it was a thrashing at the Emirates in the autumn, paved the way for a change in formation, a change of philosophy that put Chelsea on the road to the Premier League title. I remember talking to him after that game, and he was saying, we are a great team on paper, but only on paper.
Well, he did something about it.
He certainly did. Here's Iwobi. Next Oxlade-Chamberlain, who's been linked heavily with a move to Chelsea, out stripping Marcos Alonso. Here's Pedro. Loves to run with the ball at his feet. He's being chased by Oxlade-Chamberlain, pursued by Xhaka. Still got hold of it though. Needed a third man to come over and prevent him from getting forward in the end.
Really clever play from Pedro. I mean, it was almost a bit off the cuff, but he went with it, he drove with the ball, and really nice footwork and skill.
Well, Chelsea's head coach might be a little bit frustrated about the effectiveness of the recruitment. No doubt that he'll be pleased with the three big money signings that they've brought in, Chelsea. They are still in need of reinforcements. Here's Pedro. On to Alonso. Cahill. One of the things that Chelsea do have this season is European competition, something that they didn't have to worry about last campaign.
No, it'd be interesting how it affects Conte's philosophy from last season, which he very much stuck with 11 players and was able to get that foundation and understanding in the team. It's going to be a different challenge this season.
Fascinating that those 11 players that are left still at the club are basically playing this game today.
Absolutely. You know, you look at the starting lineup, it's not far off the FA Cup team that lost to Arsenal.
You go back to the Monday night game, which saw them beat Middlesbrough at the end of the season. 9 of the 18 that were involved in that matchday squad are not available to him at the beginning of the season. The injuries to Hazard, of course, the reasons ranging from ailments and being sold, let go, or being put out in exile. They do have a layer underneath the first team which has been sold off or loaned out, and those places will need filling. There is a young squad that has accompanied Antonio Conte to this Asian tour, and some of those will be trying to make a case for involvement.
Definitely, you know, it's an opportunity for those players. Quite a few have left, like you say, and for different various issues, but there's an opportunity there at Chelsea at the moment with the size of their squad, and you really do expect them to add to that before the season starts.
Here's Özil skating forward and finding Lacazette, who tried to return it. Since Fabregas ends up on the floor, but Chelsea still have the ball. Best chances have come Chelsea's way in the opening 15 minutes in China's capital. gunner, of course. Moses. Fabregas again. Onto a Batshuayi trying to squeeze a shot away. And he's got Morata to fight with for a first-team spot this season. It's expected that Diego Costa is going to lead to probably Atletico Madrid with a stop in between.
It should be a little bit easier for him this year, even if he doesn't quite hold down that first team, first choice place. There's a lot of matches. I mean, he got starved of games last season, really, given the regularity in which Chelsea kept the same 11, and you know, hopefully he'll get more opportunity to play if he's not nailing down that #1 slot.
For the bulk of the season, he wasn't really even coming off the bench.
No. It's very difficult when you've moved to a new club, and that is the case.
Just seeing how the turf kicked up under the feet of Aaron Ramsey there. This is Özil. Towards Özil from Xhaka, and it almost came off for Arsenal.
Really good pass, very just overhit, but so decisive and a cutting pass, something that Xhaka and Özil, it's a real key part of their game. They have the ball and they look for it one touch. They play the ball so early just to break that little line and nearly put Özil in there.
Being chased and ultimately pushed off the ball by Nacho Monreal. Scored a big goal in the semi-final of the FA Cup. Batshuayi. Mertesacker, who was excellent in that FA Cup final at Wembley, I think against all the odds.
It's an outstanding performance. It will go down for me as just the Mertesacker FA Cup final. I thought it was outstanding, given he'd hardly played a game all season.
Fabregas. Willian tried to allow that to run through to Batshuayi, but Monreal was alert to it. The space here outlined for Özil, and he's chasing it. There's a back and just hold him up momentarily. This is Xhaka. They checked it. Not in blue yet. Is that a move you think could happen?
I find it hard to see that move happen, to be honest. I mean, I'd be very surprised if Arsenal were to let Oxlade-Chamberlain go and for him to go to Chelsea.
Here's Pedro. Arsenal with the red wall in front of Ospina's goal. Pedro didn't have the capacity to prise it open. This is Iwobi. Now Xhaka. Iwobi's made a bursting run forward. Lacazette. He's ambitious.
I just feel like the pace of the game's starting to slow down a little bit. They're settling into the shape, and the other thing you can't underestimate here is the humidity in Beijing and in the stadium. It's very difficult to cope with in a pre-season for them.
Get to the stage after 10 minutes and you're feeling as if you played 90.
Your muscles tend to be feeling like you've had 90 minutes after 10. Yeah, it's a very strange feeling. There's almost like a lack of oxygen to kind of get on board.
And you may have seen a shot of the former German international goalkeeper, former Arsenal goalkeeper Jens Lehmann, who is part of the Arsenal coaching staff nowadays. They did promise changes. Here's Batshuayi.
Just felt he probably could have laid Willian in there for me. He made a great run outside him, and just to lay him in for a strike for me would have been a better choice. Here we are, it stays on side, and just a slid ball there to Willian puts him in probably a better position to score. You know, you don't mind your striker having a pop, he's there to score, I understand that, but just to roll that in there would have been a great choice from him.
Against Fulham at the weekend, he laid on 2 for Willian, so maybe he's thinking, I deserve a go myself.
It's my turn to score, yeah.
Monreal's got a little bit of an issue here. We'll be able to make a number of changes throughout the course of the afternoon if required. And just pointing out the heat inside the stadium, it was 27 degrees an hour before kickoff. Humidity was well above 90%. Is it a good way of getting your fitness going on these pre-season tours?
I think it's very difficult. The time zone, the travelling. The one advantage you find when you come back and you get onto English soil and you start to train at your own training ground is the freshness, and the air is very different. So if you're used to training in that kind of humidity and heat, to come back home and train after a few days and you've acclimatised, I think you do feel the benefits at that point. But overall, I think the travelling and the going there for the preparation for a Premier League season isn't a very positive thing for the squad.
What do you mean by different air?
It's just the humidity. You just feel like when you're running and you're working that hard at home or at your training base, you're just used to the air temperature and the lack of humidity. When you're playing in somewhere like Beijing, it's very difficult to get used to that.
Contact. Trying to find William. Interception is by Monreal. This is Bramall. What a story he's had over the last 6 months. Moved to Arsenal in January from Hensford Town, and that was days after being made redundant from his job at a Bentley factory.
It's a great story. I mean, stories that you don't hear very often in the modern game, and something I think Arsene Wenger is very open to. If you look over the years, he's been open to that type of thing.
Given away by Apilicueta. This is Iwobi. Özil with Lacazette, and also Aaron Ramsey arriving late and prodding it narrowly wide.
Fabulous run from Ramsey from deep. It's great midfield play. The turnover of the ball, and you see you're on the attack. He makes a lovely run, and no one better than Özil to find him with these type of passes. Great pass in between the two defenders, and any kind of slight touch, glancing the ball, could have put it into the far corner.
Scored in the FA Cup final, didn't he, again? Seems to be his stage.
Similar goal from arriving from deep as well. Ball went wide and he got in the box, and so important for an attacking midfielder to time that run well.
He was another one who met a superfan in Australia who had a tattoo of Ramsey's face on his forearm.
Crikey.
Anyone ever have a tattoo of your face?
Hopefully not.
Arsenal have been on the most arduous pre-season tour. They'll fly 21,000 miles or more over the course of a 2-week period. And they've been to Sydney, they've been to Shanghai, now Beijing. They go back for the Emirates Cup next week. Chelsea will be going off to Singapore. They will face Inter Milan and Bayern Munich. Moses chasing Bramall. Managed to get himself out of a sticky situation there. And we had another fairy tale story this week as well, didn't we, with Andrew Robertson going to Liverpool. A guy that 4 years ago was playing part-time football in Scotland and working in a supermarket. Now he's the left back of a team that will be playing in the Champions League next season. Here come Chelsea, and it came a very, very long way there, David Ospina. And the referee has given a free kick against Pedro.
It'd be interesting to see the replay on what the offence was here from Pedro. I mean, it's a decision from Ospina. I even think when he comes out, he nearly handles just on the goal line, but I can't see where the foul's coming from there, to be honest.
Well, if we had an 18-yard camera replay of that, I think it might show that when he touched the ball, he was outside the box.
Just outside, it looks to me, when he made contact with the ball with his hand. But, you know, Pedro's got every right to go and challenge for that ball.
He's the one who's come off worse in the situation, Pedro.
Yes, it's a nasty collision. It's never nice when you're going through and his eyes are on the ball. He's totally focused on wanting to take that touch, and a goalkeeper comes out and clatters you like that. It takes you by surprise and leaves you vulnerable. So I'm not surprised he's rolling around in a little bit of pain right now.
Antonio Conte is a little bit concerned. It's Carlo Cudicini, who is on the coaching staff at Chelsea, former Chelsea goalkeeper. There's a pause in play in Beijing, so we'll tell you about some more live football that we've got coming up for you in the next few days. In fact, on Thursday night, we've got live action from Goodison Park. ITV4, we start at 7:30. Wayne Rooney's second competitive debut as an Everton player. They take on Rosenborg in the Europa League qualifiers. Kick-off is 8:05. We're on air at 7:30. Looking forward to a trip to Goodison Park, where there's been some quite intense recruitment.
Yeah, they've had a very active summer and ongoing transfer scenarios at the moment, I suppose, which makes it an interesting place to be.
It does look as if the bridge of the nose of Pedro had a small cut on it. Antonio Conte wants to know whether he has to make a change or not.
That was a substantial collision. When you see the slow motion, that was unpleasant. I think Ospina's contacted him twice, once with his forearm as he's come out to punch the ball, and then as his body's hit into him, and Pedro's head not only contacted Ospina, but I think he hit the floor as well. So, you know, it's going to shake him up a little bit.
Chelsea yet to decide whether they're going to make a change. Ramsey. Interesting tactic from N'Golo Conte. Sending it long. There wasn't anyone to aim at for Chelsea. This is Özil being chased by Alonso. Gary Cahill was across, and that wasn't the best of clearances from David Luiz.
No, he'll probably argue that he's dealt with it, which he has, but it seemed quite a casual clearance at the time. Maybe could have hooked it out for a throw-in, but instead it looks like it's gone out for a corner.
Change for Chelsea, and Pedro is not going to be able to continue, so Jeremy Boga is about to come on, the Ivory Coast international. Started 14 times for Granada in the Liga last season, racked up nearly 1,500 minutes of first-team football in Spain. He's only 20 years of age. He did, however, play under 4 different managers, including Tony Adams. And it's a like-for-like replacement for Chelsea. He's speedy, tricky. He's got a really good touch. He likes to run with the ball. Very creative player.
That's a good opportunity for him. Game matches like this are designed really well for players on the fringes of teams and young players. So, really good opportunity for him to show what he can do.
Involved in the Chelsea all-conquering youth team, but never played a competitive match for Chelsea. So Chelsea making a change inside the first half an hour. Iwobi. Herzl. Xhaka. Kind of shifted on. Monreal picks it up. Bramall. This is Oxlade-Chamberlain. Way to tracking Iwobi, following him away from the penalty area and then getting the tackle in.
I can really hear Antonio Conte encouraging his players, getting them out, get pressure on the ball. It's something that he really requires his teams to do, and even though it's a pre-season friendly, he wants Chelsea to get into that zone and into that mindset of pressing the ball in midfield and putting pressure on the opposition.
Another drinks break. Antonio Conte coming in last season, he had a fantastic first campaign, didn't he? He led Chelsea to the Premier League title at the first attempt, guiding them to what was a record 30 wins in a single season, as well as a club record 13 consecutive league victories. They also reached the FA Cup final when they lost to Arsenal. Don't get much better than that, do they, as far as debut season's concerned?
It doesn't get any better than that, and coming into the club there was no European distraction, which personally I feel helped him. I think it gave him time with the players on the training pitch as opposed to flying around Europe for matches midweek. He was able to play a very similar starting 11 every week. Everyone knew their job, and the big credit that he's taken is the formation. I think it's been a revelation for Chelsea with the domestic Premier League season, and an outstanding first season in the Premier League for a manager.
He's just whispering into the ear of Jeremy Boga there, just giving him some tactical instructions. You mentioned about the system. One of the things about him that sets him apart from other coaches is that he's not like wedded to one style, one formation. He likes three at the back, but he won't always play that way. Flexibility is important at the top of the game. Arsenal had an upturn themselves in results once they changed 2-3 at the back at the end of the season.
Yeah, no, definitely, and he will change different formations if the personnel suit that, and I think that's an important thing for a manager. I see Arsene Wenger having done the same with Per Mertesacker, we touched on earlier. He's a player that will play well and will be a real asset to the defence in a 3. I think in a 2 it's a different situation for him.
Interesting season for Per Mertesacker. It will be his last. He pulled out of the warm-up against Bayern because of sickness. That's the man who will usually play in the back 3 or 4 for Arsenal, Laurent Koscielny. But Mertesacker is going to become the head of the Arsenal Academy from the beginning of the season. And you were telling me earlier he's going to start that role whilst still playing the final year of his playing contract.
That's what I'm aware of, obviously in a lighter capacity than if he weren't playing, but I believe that's the case. But even not, it's a really interesting appointment from Arsenal, and that they've obviously got a lot of faith in his idea, and going into player development at that stage in such a crucial area of the club, it's a big responsibility for him.
Here he is on the ball. In an offside position, Thibaut Courtois comes a long way to deal with it and does so successfully. Might come here for Willian. Does come for Willian. Still going. It's Willian. It's a save by David Ospina. Victor Moses. And another reaction save by the Colombian goalkeeper to keep Chelsea out. They've looked the most likely.
Another poor kind of error from Arsenal with the Maitland Niles with a header into midfield and really pounced upon by Moses.
It's an intelligent corner, and Michy Batshuayi tucks it home. Here's the offside flag up. He's frustrated about that. The Chinese officials were very quick to rule that out. He thought he'd stolen a march.
Arsenal will be very relieved. They get out, but they're not. There's not enough pressure on the ball as it comes out. They're too far off. It looks onside to me. Looks onside. They've got away with that. But as the corner comes back out, Arsenal just aren't ready, and there's not enough pressure on the man receiving the ball.
Told you we need VAR.
Please no.
Yeah. Both you and I were working on the Confederations Cup, where that was a major talking point over the course of the 2.5 weeks.
It was very difficult to understand how you could make it so difficult to get those decisions right. Even with video technology, it was a masterclass.
That one would have been simple.
Yeah.
Chelsea might feel as if they should have been allowed that goal. And at 10 minutes before half-time, they should be in front. They've certainly had the best of the chances in the opening 35 minutes. Williams had a couple, Batshuayi from distance. To Moses too.
It's worth all of them have come from poor defensive errors, in my opinion. You know, loose passes or trying to play a ball down when it's not on, and giving Chelsea some good opportunities to score.
The accusation has been for a long time that Arsenal don't do enough work defensively. Is that your understanding?
I don't know if it's enough work defensively. It's just in these occasions, especially, it's just the decision making.
Chance for Boga here. He's in behind Maitland-Niles. He's then been held up. He's still got hold of it. Sensible play to work it out to Victor Moses, who's got a chance to cross again. And Mertesacker, well, that could have gone anywhere. Where it did go was over the top of Ospina's crossbar, and Arsenal are relieved again.
You can see Mertesacker there saying to his left wing back, or Monreal maybe, just show him out, just get him out of the pitch. Don't let him come inside and cross like that. It's too easy for him to get round and stick a dangerous ball in the box right along the 6-yard line. It's a terrible place to be as a centre-back going towards your own goal.
Willian trotting out to take the corner. The Chelsea captain is Gary Cahill now after the departure of John Terry. Mertesacker has the responsibility of watching him. He pops up with more than a goal or two. It's a decent delivery, and he's found Cahill. Arsenal blocked it, but they allowed him far too much room.
Yes, it's a feature of Gary Cahill on corners. He tends to kind of drop off and gets quite a lot of either second ball or volley type opportunities to score.
He's been reacting to the news that Chelsea have signed Alvaro Morata in the last 24 hours. He's very excited about playing alongside him. He will join up with the squad tomorrow in Singapore, after completing his medical in London. Boga, good feet. On to Batshuayi, dragged the shot a little. Maybe just rush the opportunity. Did score the goal that won Chelsea the title away at West Bromwich Albion. Decided to rebuff Fenerbahce in the week.
Just snatched at it, I would say it would be a good description of what he's doing now. I just feel more composure, take your touch, get it out your feet, clean strike. He was under pressure a little bit from Xhaka, came across, but just snatched at the opportunity and needed a better contact with the ball.
The statistics suggest he will score goals. He did when he was at Marseille. The limited appearances he had for Chelsea, he scored goals too. I think, as you said, with the number of games that Chelsea have to play this season, there will be opportunities for him. Conte, Batshuayi trying to wriggle away from Mertesacker.
In any position, to not play regularly is very difficult to get your rhythm, to get a run of form. But for a goal scorer, when you're so heavily reliant on the statistics of goals being in your game, it's a near on impossible task. So, you know, more matches for him is only going to bring more opportunities to score, which with his quality, I'm sure he'll take.
And that was superb from Batshuayi. He's found Willian. Boga is joining the attack. Moses is there too. Willian goes for goal himself, and this time Chelsea did take the lead. Really good finish from Willian. They have been threatening to take charge of this fixture, And just before half-time, that's what they've done.
Fully deserved, in my opinion, the opportunities that Arsenal are giving Chelsea and that Chelsea are creating themselves. There's far too many that only eventually they're going to score a goal, and superbly taken from Willian.
5 minutes before half-time, and Willian, who scored a hat-trick against Fulham last weekend, is on the score sheet once more.
Monreal has to keep him going on the outside. As a defender, the only place I don't want him coming is inside. I will gladly let him go on the outside of me there and show him to the goal line. He allows him that space inside. Someone like Willian only needs half an opportunity or half a yard to bend the ball in the far post. It's a fantastic finish, but Monreal has to keep him outside of the pitch.
And the work of Batshuayi just on the edge of the centre circle should not be underestimated.
No, lovely play, turned with the ball brilliantly and threaded a nice through ball through, which created the opportunity.
And Chelsea lead by 1-0 just before the break. Conte trying to meet that, and does meet that ahead of Bramall. Just got a little bit befuddled. Here is Batshuayi, some space for him too. And Chelsea score a double in quick succession. First Willian and then Batshuayi. The champions with a show of strength just before half-time.
Chelsea again handed the ball from Bramall, I think it was, and developed it themselves, but the initial turnover of the ball was a real sloppy touch or sloppy play from Bramall. Kante doesn't need another opportunity to dispossess somebody, and it's a very composed finish. Mertesacker's body weight's going the wrong way, cuts inside. Very similar finish to Willian's, just with his left foot.
He's had a couple of opportunities from range and not got them quite right. That was inch perfect for Michy Batshuayi. And Chelsea, who started the first half stronger than Arsenal, have finished it in that vein too. That's another bit of sloppy defending. And here's Fabregas, and Batshuayi is lurking, and Batshuayi is denied by Xhaka. Fabregas, Boga. It's quick and slick from Chelsea, and it's a bit sloppy from Arsenal.
Arsenal really need to get a hold of themselves at the moment. They are all over the place. They've got to get set, they've got to get their shape, they've got to have some communication and some structure to what they're doing. At the moment, they're just reacting on balls and they're making sloppy mistakes. They've really got to get it together.
Bramall driving forward, chance to cross and ending towards Lacazette, but well defended by Gary Cahill.
Really good defending from Gary Cahill there. Saw the danger, saw Lacazette's run, came across, got goal side and dealt with the ball.
We've seen that pose from Arsene Wenger before, haven't we? It's not significant, it is only a pre-season friendly, and these things shouldn't matter, but whenever these two play, you get the feeling that there's that extra little bit of needle. Bramall. Chested down by Marcos Alonso. Batshuayi draws Mertesacker into a foul. It's interesting that Cesc Fabregas has been promised some more playing time this season by Antonio Conte. There was a bit of grumbling that he didn't play enough last season, maybe suggestions that he might have to go somewhere else to get some minutes under his belt, but Conte has reassured him that he's very much part of his plans. Still giving it away again here, Boga trying to get beyond Maitland-Niles, who stands firm on that occasion.
Yeah, Fabregas will be another one that will benefit from those European fixtures and the amount of games that Chelsea will have this season. Sometimes as a manager, it must be difficult when you've got a sizable squad of players, but only with the Premier League and domestic cups to focus on. So from that point of view, it'll give him an opportunity to give other players some game time.
4 minutes of added time at the end of the first 45. Chelsea in this pre-season game in Beijing, leading by 2 goals scored by Willian and Batshuayi. And Arsenal's record signing Lacazette hasn't had an opportunity yet.
No, they've not really created too much, Arsenal, and Chelsea have been comfortable. I mean, they must be hoping for the half-time whistle at the moment, Arsenal, to get back in the dressing room and regroup.
It's a little late from Cesc Fabregas. Ramsey wants it. Took too long to distribute the ball. Iwobi has managed to keep Arsenal in possession. This is Özil on a wander. And Chelsea do very well to get back and crowd out the edge of that penalty area, and now have the chance to counter-attack. And it's led by Jeremy Boga. Willian and Batshuayi are alongside him, and Oxlade-Chamberlain was getting back, and a really well-timed tackle.
Very, very good tracking back from Oxlade-Chamberlain, but interesting how the bodies of Chelsea were around their own penalty spot there, really crowded the ball out, like you say, in one possession, and then to play one pass and be on the counter-attack. You know, it's really good play from Chelsea.
Thibaut Courtois picking the ball out of play under a bit of pressure. Antonio Conte not taking it lightly, as he's making sure that he's visible and audible, as he always is on the touchline. He's obviously trying to get something out of the game.
You always know he's there. You're not going to walk away and wonder whether he was at the game.
Shouts himself for so long. He's got lozenges specially made. Here's Ramsey trying to beat Thibaut Courtois, who had to be at his most alert.
Fantastic ball in from Oxlade-Chamberlain. Nice touch from Ramsey. He just picks up that lovely position in between the 2 centre-backs. I see Lewis there signalling as if to say I didn't know where he was, but great position from Ramsey and a lovely ball and a good save in the end.
Chelsea not keeping an eye on the fact that the corner's already been taken. The linesman now suggesting that that needs to be done again. He won't be unduly concerned, but he will be frustrated with the way that Arsenal have given their goals away.
He won't be happy. He can't be happy with that. We can talk about pre-season friendlies and what the game's meaning and whatnot. This is a game of football that people need to impress him in order to get in the team, and he won't be happy with some of the standards of the play.
Özil's corner is well defended by Batshuayi. This is Oxlade-Chamberlain. Moses with the header away. Fabregas, Bogan. Oxlade-Chamberlain trying to dig that one out and finds Mesut Özil, who brings it down with a beautiful touch. Bramall chasing, Bramall reaching. Good challenge by Moses to take it off of Bramall. This should be the last action of the first half. Chelsea looking to get the ball up quickly, and Jeremy Boga hasn't given it up when Batshuayi did. Özil tracking back.
It's a good job Özil made that run. It opened up. There was an ocean of space to run in, and I feared for Arsenal then, but really good play from Ozil.
Doesn't matter where you host it, it'll always be competitive when these two meet. Chelsea in front with 2 goals in that first half. Willian and Batshuayi on the score sheet. Selina Hinchcliffe will pick through it with Tony Cascarino and Kevin Campbell next. At Beijing, at the break, it is Chelsea 2, Arsenal 0. Doesn't look too fussed about it.
Arsene Wenger looks upset, I have to say. He's not pleased that Olivier Giroud may not be able to get any action in this game. You know, it's a player that he will want to give some game time to. You know, he's travelled out there, he's there for the matches. Whoever made the error might be getting the sharp end of his tongue at some point.
I did hear Vic Akers at one stage turning around saying it wasn't me. Arsene Wenger's certainly not looking happy. We've almost had a 20-minute half-time, and the officials have now conceded. It's okay, you know, it doesn't matter too much, you can go on and play. I mean, I was talking about being a stickler for the rules. They're underway in the second half eventually, and Arsenal do have 11 men on the pitch. They have a lot of different men on the pitch to those who started the game. It would be wrong of me to try and unpick that immediately. We will do our best to try and work out the shape of the team. You can see Francis Coquelin then. This is Oxlade-Chamberlain, who has survived from the first half. Ramsey is still out there too. And Laurent Koscielny is on the pitch. This is Elneny. Arsenal have had to shift and move and change. And they were stung a little bit by the 2 goals right at the end of the first half. Chelsea have made a change as well. You can see they have a new goalkeeper. Willy Caballero, who they signed on the free transfer from Manchester City, is now between the sticks.
Yeah, that's an interesting signing from Chelsea. I think he'll slot in there well. He's experienced. He's been at a big club last season, so I think he's a good addition to the Chelsea squad in that role.
Ramsey. Özil has also been retained. Giroud holding off David Luiz and looking to try and squeeze the ball into the path of Danny Welbeck, who is another change at half-time.
Yeah, Arsenal really do need to change something second half, and they have done. So Giroud's going to push higher up the pitch. He's going to try and put a bit of pressure on David Luiz and in between the 3 centre-backs and be a bit more physical. And it's interesting to see how Chelsea stand up to the challenge.
Jeremy Boga trying to play his way into the Chelsea first-team squad. Darting forward, he was held up by Coquelin. He gets a round of applause from his manager.
You can see Coquelin's already tried to inject a bit of spice into this game. He started the game with some real intent. You know, he's got about the pitch, made a couple of tackles, and that one there, I mean, both feet off the ground and through the air.
When you watch it in slow motion, it looks rather uncontrolled, but he got away with it. Of course, Arsenal's job next season is to try and get back in the Champions League. The competition for both these teams is going to be incredibly fierce. Spurs, Liverpool, 2 Manchester clubs, Everton investing as well. Ramsey looking for Giroud, and it was a really good ball in from Aaron Ramsey, and the Frenchman was inches away from connecting in between the 2 Chelsea centre-backs, finding the space and sniffing out the chance.
I cannot understand why Giroud hasn't gone with a header here. It doesn't make sense to me why he's tried to volley that. Maybe he felt he's too far off the ball, but it just made sense to get your momentum of your body weight forward and use the element that he's really strong with, which is his heading ability. And I think with his head he would have made a connection there and scored the goal.
Caballero clipping it out towards the far touchline, and Victor Moses, it ended up coming to an Arsenal player first. Here's Batshuayi. Slipped by him. Fabregas having some composure. And picking out a beautiful pass for Marcus Alonso, who leaves Oxlade-Chamberlain on the floor. Alonso, and it's hit beautifully by Michy Batshuayi. It's 3 goals for Chelsea, and Arsenal's defence are having a China crisis. A second goal on the night for the man who may end up being back up to the record signing, but he will be breathing down his neck.
Excellent ball from Fabregas, I must say. Really put Arsenal on the back foot, and Chamberlain doesn't get the brakes on well enough there. Maybe the pitch has something to do with that, but take nothing away from that finish. Arriving on the edge of the box. It's a nice way to pass here from Alonso, and just to sweep that with his left foot with a bit of bend on it. Nice pace, really controlled strike. Outstanding finish, and a well-needed goal for him.
Well, didn't have the greatest start to the second half, did he, either? And the administrative error which held Arsenal up. The changes that he's made haven't had time to settle before Chelsea have extended their lead.
I think what's alarming is the ease at which Chelsea are getting through to Arsenal here. You know, it's a simple turnover and one long ball, and all of a sudden they're on the back foot and conceding a goal.
Giroud cut out by Chelsea, just didn't quite work for them. Another half-time substitution in Said Kolasinac, new signing. At left full-back, it might spell the end of Kieran Gibbs's tenure at Arsenal. He looks to be heading to Watford. And that ball popped down the sky with ease by Willy Caballero. We've often said it about Arsenal, but they've been a bit naive at times too, haven't they? Giving the ball away cheaply, leaving themselves a bit open.
Extremely naive, and bad individual errors alongside that, you know, lead to real vulnerability at the back. And Chelsea just look in total control of this match, and you feel that when the ball turns over, especially in the middle of the park, that they can really break on Arsenal.
It's actually quite frightening how in control Chelsea look, really, when you think that this is their first pre-season game outside of Cobham.
Absolutely. You know, it's alarming. It's alarming the ease at which they're knocking the ball around. I don't see Arsenal really, you know, 3-0 down, getting after the ball and pressing with any organisation or intensity.
I just wonder if that stomach bug, which caused them so many problems in midweek, has caused them problems again today.
Yeah, it can definitely be a factor, and you know, playing with a stomach bug in this environment, it's not easy.
Here's Özil trying to get away from Cahill and Marcos Alonso, running out of room. Well, they do have things to sort out, don't they? His contract is one of them. Would you give him £280,000 a week?
In a straight answer, probably not. No, I wouldn't. I don't think I could. I don't think there's been just quite enough from him. I think he's an outstanding talent, but to watch and to see him week in, week out, you just can't help but feel that you want more from him. And he almost kind of leaves you wanting more, which perhaps is good in some way, because he can do some great things when you feel that, you know, it's not quite everything that he has. But to not put it out on the pitch there often enough for me, I think to warrant that contract, you've got to do a little bit more.
The lack of takers as well sort of signifies that others feel the same way. Here's Koscielny. Oxlade-Chamberlain. This is Coquelin. Vogel was rising, didn't quite get there, and Koscielny's joined the attack now. Chelsea do eventually deal with it, but here is Mesut Ozil again. No doubt that he has the talent to craft some cracking opportunities. His assist record itself underlines that talent. There's some problems for El Neni. Batshuayi's trying to get a hat-trick, has pulled him down. Mohamed El Neni wanted a yellow card for Batshuayi there. I don't think the Chinese official was forthcoming.
Yeah, he wasn't happy, was he? To signal for a yellow in this match at that opportunity. It's a foul. You know, he doesn't make much contact with Batshuayi there, but you know, he got given the foul. I think that's enough to pick yourself up and you get on with the game. And signaling for yellow cards in that situation seemed a bit crazy to me.
Danny Welbeck trying to get around the outside of Azpilicueta. The pitch was against him there too. can see the multiple changes have been scrolling across the bottom of your screen. Pre-season, it's always like this. Changes here and there, and players popping up in different positions. It's all part of the experiment to get things right before the start of the Premier League campaign. These two will play in the Community Shield as well. Here's Welbeck, and it's right on the edge of the penalty area, this. A free kick for Arsenal in a dangerous area.
Really good flick from Giroud to create the opportunity, but yeah, I'd say David Luiz has got a little bit tight there. He's got a little bit tight to Welbeck and tried to roll him out and had to make contact. He's lucky it's just outside the box, because I don't think Luiz really did know whether he was in or outside. But Giroud really created the chance with that lovely little flick round the corner.
I'm sure Olivier Giroud would have been a little bit miffed when Lacazette turned up as the record signing. He's always felt as if he should be Arsenal's main man in that central striking position. He's been linked with Borussia Dortmund, although that looks unlikely with Aubameyang looking as if he's going to stay. He's been linked with Everton too. And he's still very much wearing the red and white of Arsenal. And he's taking charge of this free kick situation. Ramsey is alongside him. They're arguing about it between the two of them. Chelsea's wall is being sent back. Caballero trying to get the attention of Marcos Alonso.
I can't help but feel that Welbeck will be most affected by Lacazette. I just feel that in style, how they are, Giroud's a very different style to him, and if Arsene Wenger wants to have a different approach at times, then he fits that role.
Well, he's on now, standing over the ball. Adam Ramsey is too. Marcos Alonso's getting another warning. It's going to be Ramsey, or is it Giroud through the wall? No. And he tries to disguise it. In the end, it's come to nothing. Elneny playing in Özil's onside here. Can he produce a cross? Oh, it's through Aaron Ramsey's legs. Comes back out, and Coquelin ripples the top of the net. Did Willy Caballero get a little touch on that?
They're the situations where I just love Ozil's quality. You know, we spoke about him earlier and at bat not doing enough, but these, you know, he always picks people out. There's never just a hopeful ball into the box. It's a great cutback. Should make better contact, but I'm not sure if Caballero just gets a bit of a no. Doesn't get any fingertip to it.
Important contribution from Olivier Giroud in the build-up to that as well. Seeing the ball fizz across the 18-yard box and prodding it back to the edge of the penalty area. Interesting decision from Willy Caballero, again kicking it into midfield where there were a lot of red shirts outnumbering blue ones. This is Boga. Came on as a first-half substitute for Pedro. He's done well to keep his feet and find the pass for Alonso. Conte. Fabregas looking for Moses. Moses might keep this in, he does, and Kolasinac manages to position himself in the right area to get it clear. Giroud. Ramsey is in front of him, trying to brush Conte aside. Ramsey. Now Giroud again. Özil waiting in the centre. Giroud into the gloves of Willy Caballero.
Nice touch from Giroud. You have to say that he's had an impact since coming on at half-time. I think he's led the line. I think he's put a little bit more pressure on the Chelsea back three and pulling into good areas to attack and affect the play.
Azpilicueta, who got clattered in that attempt from Olivier Giroud, is back and moving again. One thing that Arsenal do need to sort out is that midfield conundrum. They have a lot of players who play in that area. They haven't seemed to settle on a duo. Here's Giroud, given away by Chelsea, who have been a bit sloppy at the start of this second half. It's going 3 goals up, in fact. They're giving it away more often than they did in the prior 50 minutes. Coquelin snapping into the tackle. A bit more about Arsenal now. Welbeck. Iwobi. Oxlade-Chamberlain. Now on to Özil, and Oxlade-Chamberlain again. 3 waiting for the delivery. Now Oxlade-Chamberlain again. Chelsea still not able to get it clear. Iwobi wanted to get it onto his right foot, then tried to set up Coquelin and just weren't sure enough with the touch. And Boga leads the charge away, and he's got the pace and the trickery to get away. And he's won the free kick.
I've been impressed with him since he came on for Pedro. Boga, he's been very direct. He'll run at people with the ball. He's released it at good times, and you know that opportunity with Pedro going off is giving him a chance to get some game time, and he's fully grabbing that opportunity.
Got away from El Neni, and Ospina is to the rescue. It was pretty simple, that long ball from Luiz, and almost finished off by Willian. Here's Boga, such good feet, and winning the foul on the edge of the penalty area. You can see why he was so highly rated in the Chelsea academy, can't you?
Definitely. His footwork. And what's impressed me, that he has released the ball at good times. You know, he's done a little bit. He's stepped past somebody and then he's popped it off if he needs to. He's not been too greedy with the ball. And he commits defenders, which is always a problem. Just looking at Arsenal's vulnerability there again with a good ball from David Luiz, but it's quite a long, straight pass. You just feel like that they're so vulnerable when Chelsea decide to push the button and play a forward pass or try and carve them open. They're getting success far too easily.
I remember Marcos Alonso hitting a wicked free kick against Bournemouth towards the end of last season. He scored one against Leicester as well. Willian takes a mean free kick too, but it is Alonso. Conte. Back in by Fabregas, who always got that deft little touch to try and find the blue shirt. Moses. This is Willian losing his footing, and eventually the free kick does go his way.
Lovely footwork from Willian, just the speed of his foot movement. When you see him and Pedro playing on either flank, or Hazard, you know, for any team to have those 3 players to play in those positions, it's just a great asset.
I was spending a lot of time last week in preparation for this game, going through the squad to the 2 teams, and Chelsea really do look as if they have a great first 11, but the backup isn't as experienced as maybe Antonio Conte would like. But you know, they might not have a full complement, but they do have in Conte a manager who's got a stunning work ethic and someone who's got more plans than an architect. he's got such great tactical nous that he knows how to communicate it to his players, and you can see that. Boga again, he's grabbing the limelight here, flicking it out to Willian. Good feet again by the Brazilian. Kolasinac couldn't get anywhere near him. Batshuayi benefits from the pinball. Marcos Alonso takes on Oneni and takes on a shot which was never really going to trouble David Ospina. We've got some more live football for you coming up. Europa League action for you on Thursday night. ITV4, we're underway at 7:30. And it's Everton against Rosenborg for a place in the latter stages of the Europa League. They have this qualifying round to play, Everton, before a play-off to get into the group stage. 4 games to take them into the main competition. With the signings that they have made, they should be looking to go deeper into that competition. I was fortunate to travel with them a couple of years ago when they got all the way to the last 16 of the Europa League under Roberto Martinez. And they found themselves in a great position against Dinamo Kiev and then gave it away. We'll see how they get on Thursday. Here's Alonso, lovely cross. Victor Moses tries to bring it down and ends up hitting against the Arsenal defence when there were other options.
Yeah, maybe a better option to kind of square the ball or cut it back to somebody on the edge of the box. There's people arriving. I can see, I think it's Boga just on the penalty spot. Maybe a bit of movement for him to receive the ball, but a good block from Ramsey, I think it was, got back in the end. But again, Arsenal, that ball into the box just looking dangerous again.
Here's Boga looking for Alonso, and it's nodded back by Coquelin. Giroud running into traffic. Doing well enough to keep Arsenal in possession, though. It's excellent work by the Frenchman. Özil, Giroud. Still Olivier Giroud. It didn't make Caballero sweat. And as you say, he has had an impact since coming on at half-time. Almost wasn't allowed to come on at half-time. This is interesting from Chelsea, isn't it? Having 2 players wide of the penalty area, very, very deep. Obviously with the intent to play out from the back, no matter the circumstance. It's benefited them this time. Here's Boga. They move through the third so quickly, Chelsea. This is Boga again. Fabregas. Now Alonso. Batshuayi waiting in the centre. Whoops.
That's a very different setup from last season with Chelsea, from what I can remember, and very Man City-esque with Caballero in there and the centre halves drop in and pulling very wide of the 18-yard line.
Lewis Baker, one of 4 substitutes that Chelsea are just about to make. A few changes for Arsenal as well. Joseph Willock has just come on and he'll go into midfield. I saw Reece Nelson come in at right wing back as well. I think he's at the bottom of your screen, just left of centre. Lewis Baker is the first of the Chelsea substitutes. He comes on for Willian. Baker was away with the England under-21 side and was pivotal in their run to the semi-finals of the European Championships. Probably would be helpful to see the substitutions rather than after very significant replays, but Can't have everything. Wearing 31 for Chelsea is Fikayo Tomori, another one who will be relatively well known to England supporters who have watched some of the youth tournaments over the summer as part of the England side that won the World Cup. Chelsea have also brought Kennedy on. They'll play as a left wing back instead of Marcos Alonso. He's wearing 16. Here is Kennedy. And he's thrown himself to the floor rather dramatically. I think it was pretty obvious from this distance he wasn't going to get a free kick from that.
Yeah, he really tried to use, I think it was Elneny went to ground and very conveniently dived over his body, which gladly the referee didn't pay any attention to.
And the Chelsea forward, wearing 18, by the way, is not in your picture at the moment, with his hair tied back, is Loic Remy. Kuwaita getting it away. And now Baker sends Remy down the right-hand side. He was at Crystal Palace on loan last season. Didn't work out for him. Still got the ball here. And that didn't work out for him either.
Didn't use that to the best of its ability, that chance. It was a good opportunity. But again, Chelsea gaining possession and looking so dangerous with that first pass. Really cutting through Arsenal and getting the ball in behind or into space. And Remick really should do better with that opportunity. Even bring somebody into play or at least keep the ball alive and in the danger area.
This is Reiss Nelson. Did okay against Bayern Munich. It was impressive in the game in Sydney as well. This is Tomori. Fabregas. 18 minutes to go. Chelsea still fully in command despite all of the changes and a bit of a slowing up since they scored that third goal. Conte, Boga, Conte again. Fabregas. Oh, it's a really good take. Super take. And almost finished off too. What a great run that was. From right back from Fikayo Tomori.
Fantastic pass as well, Fabregas, first time, a little bit of fade on it. What a first touch, I must say. It totally made the chance, and it was worthy of a goal, that first touch. It was positive and aggressive.
Well, you ask the question regularly, when are these Chelsea kids going to come through? Could this be the year?
Hopefully it'd be great. It'd be great to see a few come through and really establish themselves. I don't just mean be squad players, really establish themselves as a starting 11 first team member.
Tomori, actually, on the top of your picture, was the captain of the Canada under-20 side that beat England about 18 months ago, switched allegiances and was part of the England under-20 side that won the World Cup. Can play for Nigeria internationally as well. Kolasinac. This is Willock. Nelson. On to Coquelin. Nelson again trying to face up Kennedy. And then Jeremy Boga will get it away. Very quickly onto that, and Baker could be away here. He's pulled back by Kolasinac, and you don't see a yellow card too often in these pre-season friendlies, but you might see one here.
the referee has no choice really. If he's going to referee the game properly, it has to be a yellow card. He just gets the wrong side of him there, but it's all made from Kante's aggressive decision to go and win the ball. He's first on any ball that drops down in that area of the pitch. He's on it in his shot, and then to make an aggressive pass forwards like that, it's just outstanding midfield play.
And Lewis Baker was onto it in a shot. It was the wrong side of Sead Kolasinac, who they signed from Schalke 04 at the end of last season, actually. And a little drinks break and some more substitutions. And a chance for Donyell Malen, who moved to Arsenal 2 years ago from Ajax, a Dutch forward, to get a chance for the last 15 minutes of the game. Chelsea going to make some more changes too. Mario Pasalic wearing 39, and Thomas Kalas wearing 32. Pasalic has been linked with Leeds recently. He spent last season actually at AC Milan. He had 24 starts for AC Milan in Serie A. Played for Monaco. Now Real Betis have been interested in taking him too. What does he learn from the 76 minutes that he's seen in the Bird's Nest?
He'll be definitely looking at the shape that he's played, the shape that he played in the FA Cup final, and seeing how that's worked. You tell a lot from the fitness of the players and also their application, in these type of games. It's all about mentally what you want to get out of the game individually, and questions will be asked on that front.
Arsenal have changed their goalkeeper now. Wearing 26 is Emi Martinez. You would have seen him throughout the course of the season. Last year he played a few games when Pedicek and Ospina were injured. Batshuayi and Williams afternoon is finished, and so is N'Golo Kanté's. So another 4 changes for Chelsea, it looks like. Andreas Christensen is coming on. We mentioned Pasalic and Kalas. And Jake Clark-Salter as well. Kalas, Christensen and Clark-Salter will now make up the Chelsea back 3. Kayu Tomori out on the right-hand side. At one stage, I'm sure this is the I think the back 5 that played in one of the Youth Cup games a few years ago. Christensen's been on loan at Borussia Mönchengladbach for a couple of years and played in the Champions League. Kalas has been out all over the place. He was at Fulham last season, Middlesbrough the year before. Reports are that he might be linked with Hull. Here's Loic Remy trying to go through. Offside flag is up.
Christensen, you feel like has gone and had a really good loan spell in Germany, and is at the point where he needs to go and play regularly and sign somewhere and be relied upon. And it's just surprising how many of these Chelsea players are kind of scattered across Europe, in Europe's top leagues, and having good seasons, solid seasons, but getting nowhere near the first team at Chelsea.
Carl Scott is wearing 36, and he's in Chelsea's midfield now too. Alongside Pasalic. This is Boga. And it virtually is a youth team now with Loic Remy. Or graduates from the youth team and Loic Remy. That's Clark-Salter. And this is Christensen. Reports yesterday that Christensen was being eyed up by Sevilla for £13.4 million. Chelsea, I don't think, can afford to go into the season with another centre-back like after losing Zuma to Stoke City.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens there, because from his personal point of view, to keep his development happening, he needs to go and play. And what a good club to go and play in. It's Sevilla, a very successful team at the moment. And, that's come off the back of 2 seasons of football in Germany where he's been outstanding.
Chelsea fans will be hoping that he sticks around. He's playing in the middle of the back three there. Just keeping an eye on Olivier Giroud. This is El Neni. It was a game that started really brightly, and at the start of the second half, Chelsea just took it away from Arsenal. Despite a brief flurry after that, Arsenal haven't really shown many signs of getting back into the game.
The closest they've come for me is when Chelsea have made a few scruffy errors and given away possession poorly. But in terms of creating a lot of goal-scoring opportunities through their own creative play, it's something that Arsenal won't be best pleased with today.
Looks like the kit sales are going okay, doesn't it?
Definitely. One major positive out of the afternoon.
Daniel Malen trying to get the ball into the centre. It's straight into the arms of Willy Caballero. It does amaze me, actually, that almost everyone inside the stadium, at least 80% of the people inside the stadium, are wearing replica kits.
It does make you wonder if they actually are Chelsea or Arsenal fans, really, or whether it was just a stipulation of the game to go. You have to buy one of the coloured shirts.
Don't be a cynic. It's a stadium that holds 80,000 people, and it's probably about 70-75% full. It's a pretty good return. I'm sure the organisers will be delighted. Ball looking to try and pick out Danny Welbeck. Has picked out Danny Welbeck. Tomori across very quickly to snuff out the danger. Carl Scott. Getting it back again. This is Baker. And I've seen a lot of these young players come through the ranks at Chelsea by doing the Youth Cup here on ITV. And they looked as if they were a step away from the first team for quite some while, but a lot of them have gone out on loan and then come back again, and they look bigger, they look stronger, they look like they're a lot closer to breaking through than they have been in the past.
Definitely, and Chelsea are really using that loan, especially into other European leagues. They're strongly using the loan facility to develop their players as opposed to bringing them through their own first team. It's just them making that final step into such a strong squad that Chelsea have. It's a real challenge for these young players.
Nelson. Malen trying to get on the end of it, and Christensen deals with it by putting it out for a corner. Gone in by Nelson, looking for Giroud. Tomori was there again. Thought it was going to run out of play, and then made sure that it did.
I don't think the pitch was helping him out there. I think he thought he was somewhere else at that point, and the ball was just going to glide on out of play. But on this grass, it's going to stick a little bit.
Remy, I wonder what the future holds for him. Gets a lucky bounce, leads another Chelsea charge. Picked up by Kennedy. Baker is steaming away on the left-hand side. The heavy touch from Kennedy just pushed it too far in front of him and allowed Kolasinac to come across and get rid of it.
Yeah, just a heavy touch. You felt that a better touch would have really given Kolasinac a problem. It just made his mind up. The moment he had that heavy touch, he came across and tied it up really well.
Giroud. Nelson. A lot of the younger Arsenal players will get the opportunity to play a bit more this season as well, won't they? With the Europa League campaign upcoming, they're going to be used, apparently, according to Arsene Wenger. He said he's going to use the kids in that competition. Here's Giroud, onside. Couldn't quite return it to Danny Welbeck. Is that the right philosophy for you?
To a degree, I think there's a blend and a balance between using those players. A, for them, you know, that they need to be around senior players during the game to support them and to support their positional play. And B, because any trophy that you enter into, I think you want to win. So there's a fine balance between giving that game experience and really wanting to win the trophy too.
Baker trying to pick out Jeremy Boga, who coming from that left-hand side. Willock. All of his brothers are professional footballers. Matty is at Manchester United. Chris Willock, who was in the Arsenal academy, has just signed a 5-year contract with Benfica.
Wow, so all three of them.
Bet mum and dad are happy. This is Nelson skipping past Kennedy, still going. Mallon hits the outside of the post. Big chance that for Arsenal. Maybe their best of the second half.
Nice wing play, I have to say. The moment you get in that positive mindset as a wide player, when you see that space and you drive into it and you attack it, he's ran straight at the defender, got past him. Bit of a lucky pass into, but you have to say, if the ball doesn't land with Arsenal, it's a near penalty. I think, you know, he really committed the defender.
Boga dispossessed, picked up by Koscielny. Giroud, that could have gone anywhere. Jake Clark sort of playing it against Olivier Giroud. And it ricocheting behind and away for a goal kick.
Koscielny really read the play brilliantly there. Stepped in front, stole the ball, and yeah, crowded out Giroud. You only feel that the only opportunity he had to get a shot on goal was maybe to strike it first time, but the ball came so quickly. It was a difficult opportunity.
Big season for Kennedy. Did play a bit in the season before last for Chelsea. Quite a few first-team games, actually. 23 first-team games in total for the man who is named after the former USA Attorney General, Robert Kennedy. Christian has got a whack. Chelsea still face Inter Milan and Bayern Munich on this tour. Inter have obviously been continually linked with nabbing their manager. I wonder if Antonio Rudiger will play in that game. He's going to join up with the squad, just like Alvaro Morata, in the next couple of days. Next weekend, Arsenal host the Emirates Cup. Benfica involved in that too. This is Remy. No real punch in the strike, but he has won a corner.
Two good signings for Chelsea. I feel going to bring a lot to the team and to the squad. I was impressed with Rudiger in the Confederations Cup. You know, come through the German system and well equipped to playing in that way and the structure of how they play. I think it would be a good addition to Chelsea.
Lewis Baker with the corner kick. Fielded by Nelson. Tomori getting it back to Kennedy. Either of these two managers looked upon this 90 minutes and thought, yeah, you stood out for me, I'll make sure you're included next season?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of young players. I think the one person that has stood out for me is Boga.
Jeremy Boga.
Yeah, Boga. I think he's just took the opportunity of Pedro going off, and sometimes it needs something like that as a young player. It needs an opportunity due to an injury or something happening in the game, and he's given a good account of himself. He can cope with this level, he can handle the ball well, he's decisive, he's ran at people, and looks like he has plenty of pace. So I think he'll come away from this game, Antonio Conte, and think, you know, I've got a good player on my hands there.
Arsenal have got a tricky campaign with the Europa League upcoming for them. First time they haven't played in the Champions League in a generation. Most of the young players that will play in the Europa League for them probably won't remember Arsenal ever playing in the second European competition. Thomas Kalas has given away a corner here. He's protesting about it, but the referee has made his mind up. 3 minutes of added time at the end of the 90. These pre-season games always start to fracture a little bit with the multiple substitutions in the second half. This one certainly has just fizzled out a little bit.
It's very hard for a match to keep its identity when you make that many changes. You always do end up with a little bit of dysfunctional finish to the game.
Iwobi. Arsenal trying to take advantage of that. He's going to play the whole 90 minutes, Alex Iwobi. Did score a very late equaliser in the game against Bayern Munich. Take it to penalty kicks. It's Welbeck. Pasalic just getting across to stop Arsenal from coming forward. Iwobi again. Tomori is there. And now a chance to break for Baker. Jeremy Boga taking on Coquelin. He's dragged Chelsea right up the pitch here, Boga. And Joseph Willock has to come across and rob him of possession in the end.
Yeah, another example of how direct he can be. And I just think for a young player to have the confidence to run at people and try and take his team up the pitch, I think it's a big asset. And if you saw it said Moses was not unable to play 1 week and you had to slot him into that position, I think he'd hold his own and do well for the team.
Scott. Remy was ready to make a move forward. Scott again. And to launch it forward to Baker, who loves to get forward quickly. And he's done well, and then he's been nobbled. And that's going to be a free kick right on the edge of the penalty area by Laurent Koscielny.
Didn't quite get the clearance right from the lofted ball, Koscielny. It was a difficult one. He had to adjust his position and didn't get the purchase on the ball in order to clear it, and just dropped down in that area to force him to make a foul.
Don't be surprised if Lewis Baker takes charge of this free kick. I think he's got a chance of breaking into the first team squad this season, Lewis Baker, after having a little European tour of his own. He played a couple of seasons at Vitesse Arnhem. He's obviously done very well whenever he's turned out for the England age groups. Emi Martinez, the Argentine goalkeeper for Arsenal, just lining up his wall. Kalas and Pasalic trying to disrupt that. And Giroud at the forefront of it. It's Lewis Baker for Chelsea. It's one for the cameras as far as the save is concerned by Emi Martinez. It was easy to pluck it out of the sky. And it was a good 90 minutes work for Chelsea. Some work to do for Arsenal, especially defensively. But I think Chelsea will certainly come away the more satisfied of the two teams. Antonio Conte picks up as he left off at the end of last season. Chelsea winning again. A little bit of revenge maybe for the FA Cup final. They may not be perfectly in tune just yet, either of these two teams, but they certainly got through the 90 minutes. Chelsea go home the happier. It's finished in Beijing with analysis to come in the next few minutes. Chelsea 3, Arsenal 0.